you told me that you appreciated the love that I shared with others.
Yes.
And I felt the same way about you. So I was so excited to speak with you. So we're just going to start off real simple.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll talk about where you were born or where you grew up.
So I am a Pacific Northwest native.
Okay.
I was born in Eastern Oregon, so kind of Ontario area.
Okay. Where is that?
That is on the border of Idaho. So there's Ontario, and if you continue on to 84, then you end up in Idaho.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
because I've been out to Idaho. Have I been from... Yeah, I guess maybe I've been from
If
here.
you've driven down the 84 route, then you kind of bypassed Ontario before you got into Idaho.
It's really
It's
pretty.
really right on the border. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
My grandparents had a dairy farm, so that's kind of where my mom is from. And she was working at Ore-Ida, and she was working with my dad's sister and set them up on a blind date, and they got married. And when I was 5, my dad moved us over to Oregon City, so this side. There was just a lot more financial opportunities to be a plumber, and pay is just better. So
yeah, the trades are killing it right now.
They sure are.
Makes me want to be a plumber.
Right?
Although I don't really want to crawl underneath houses. Same for electrician, but yeah, it's good pay.
It is really good pay. He did not want someone else raising his children, so he wanted my mom to be a stay-at-home mom, and so we got the privilege of having a mom there full time. Which I definitely appreciated. Got up, she'd wake us up, make our breakfast, send us off to school. We got home. It was very much overseeing the homework. We had dinners together every night. So definitely blessed in that, as I know a lot of my generation, unfortunately, is not very blessed in that manner.
Mm-hmm. Where their family made it a priority. Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Oregon City for you? When was this, if you don't mind me asking?
So I was born in 83, so when I was 5, was 88, 89?
Yeah.
I think we was 4 turning 5.
So in the 90s, for the most part, you were in Oregon City.
My high school, my parents then moved us out to the Gorge when I was in high school. It's going from a big kind of town to a very small town.
Where were you in the Gorge?
Cascade Locks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your family is, or you are?
I am currently too.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You drove all the way here from Cascade Locks?
Yeah. But my business is over in Beaverton, so I was working today. Yeah.
You commute. Sorry, for those who are listening who don't live in Oregon, that's isn't it over an hour?
It's an hour. That's the advantage is I know people who spend an hour trying to drive 5 miles in rush hour traffic.
Oh, I totally get it, because I'm from the Bay Area in San Francisco, so driving is not a big deal. But for people here in Oregon, that's a huge commute.
It's a huge commute, but it's so gorgeous.
It is really a nice drive.
Right. It is.
It's so pretty.
Right. In the morning time, it's really the moment. I love nature, and I get to see the trees and to see the river and, wildlife. There's eagles flying, there's deer. There's coyotes.
10 waterfalls that you pass.
So, and probably my favorite time is when it starts snowing, but it hasn't hit the ground, so you just see the trees are covered in the snow. It is such a magical, any time of year out in the Gorge is a magical time of year.
I agree.
So
I agree. I'm in love with it too.
It's hard to give up all that beauty to come here. And I lived in Portland for a small period of time, and it was not my cup of tea.
Okay.
It's busy, and people aren't always nice. And
it is busy.
Yeah. And
people aren't always nice.
I think that's scary.
Sometimes scary in cities, generally speaking, yes.
Yeah,
but for me, it felt safer than San Francisco. San Francisco was a lot.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense.
I imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm still out in the Gorge, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a blessed commute.
It is.
It really is. If you're going to drive, that's a really beautiful drive.
Yeah, that's right. I'd rather be spending an hour
it's
driving.
Like saying, I'm driving through Yosemite on my way to work. Right. It's the same
Instead
thing.
of sitting, in rush hour or stop and go traffic. And
you also can make your hours, so that's
I do.
Nice.
So I don't typically drive during rush hour at all. I avoid.
So it's a straight shot.
Yep, it's just takes me typically an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's great decompression time.
Totally.
I like to there's podcasts I listen to, there's audiobooks. Sometimes I just like to turn it off, listen to it in silence, just as you're driving.
Process your thoughts.
Right? Just to exist, to let go of the day and just exist so I can be very present when I get home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give space for receiving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so name something that you cannot live without.
Oh, nature, hands down. Like trees. I love trees so much. Like I hug them.
I have conversations with them.
Right.
I'm like, thank you so much for everything that you do for us. You are so underrated.
Right. My niece and nephew think I'm a tad bit crazy, but they do humor me when they'll go places. I'm like, hug a tree for me, and they'll hug a tree, and my sister will send a picture, and so I do love that they're in that aspect of, all right, she's maybe a little out there, but we'll entertain her thoughts.
I think kids, they appreciate it when a adult still is willing to talk to them at their level.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that they're so much more in touch than we have been conditioned to be by our age. And I think they appreciate the reminder that everything is magical and that, as much as they may think you're a little bit crazy, I think they appreciate the fact that, there's joy, that there's still joy and that you're teaching them to appreciate what's around them. So I'm sure they're going to look back on that.
Oh, I'm so sure.
Yeah. And, always be grateful for the fact that you taught them to, take a moment.
Yes.
Like today I was smelling the roses. I literally was smelling the roses. I've been doing that lately. There's so many in Portland.
Right.
And so when I'm walking, I just, take a moment. I'm like, what does this one smell like? Mm-hmm.
And that's so important to get in touch with your senses. It stops the brain. I think that's what my favorite thing about just hugging a tree is in that moment is it just stops the brain and you are connecting. You're connecting your energy with another living thing and showing appreciation and acknowledging that it has its own energy, that it's contributing also to this world, that we are not the only ones that are sharing the space or the only ones that are making any major contributions to this space.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't have articulated it better. And that, that there is such a connection there with our environment, right? And how, trees can really help us process and ground and remind us that there's so much more than what's going on in our head, right?
Absolutely.
That there's such a bigger picture and that, we're all relying on each other.
We definitely are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me something unique or interesting about you that only those close to you would know.
That was probably the most unique, is that I love hugging trees and have conversations with trees.
Really?
I'll share an interesting story. So my parents have this hill in their yard, and there is also a tree that's kind of growing out of the hill. It's a huge tree. And they are trying to remove the hill just to make a little bit more space they want to do some things to the yard. And I love this tree, but they're going to have to cut down this tree. So I went to the tree and I was like, okay. And I stand under this tree a lot. I'll sit under this tree. It's one of my favorite things. And I said, and I'm just held its branches. And I said, so I know that my parents want to cut you down. I can't stop it. So if perhaps that maybe you can find a magical way, go ahead. And then I just let them know what was going on. And then my dad got a call saying the contractor has to do something with his licensing, so he can't come out and do it until later. So I bought the tree like 6 months. Just kind of or the tree bought itself 6 months. It's like put it out in the universe, and the tree.
Universe,
the tree,
heard your request,
right?
Yeah,
and
people don't realize that sometimes it's just that easy.
Right?
You just have to ask for what you're looking for. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I get it. I mean, it's expensive digging up the tree and trying to find another place to relocate it. It's a big tree. It's a tall tree.
Oh, I get it too. Yeah.
So I do, and I understand my parents' safety concern. If the tree fell, it would hit any direction. It's going to hit a house.
For sure.
So I kind of understand its concern, and growing out of a hill is not the most stable.
Sure.
But
yeah,
it was one of those things of, if you want to.
Yeah. If you have any say in this.
I'm giving you the information. You do what you need to do with that.
So who do you think is listening?
Well, I definitely know that my partner will be listening.
I meant in the tree conversation.
In the tree. Oh.
Just the tree?
The tree, I'm sure. I think it's connected to everything. Mm-hmm. Like the mass amount of connections. I think all the trees around it probably are listening.
Yes.
To that conversation. I believe probably all the flowers that are around, the grass, they're just, the root systems got to be intertwined and connected. It's not just trees connected.
That's right.
So.
Yeah, we're all impacting each other. And I try to remind, people that everything is energy. So for instance, when a ladybug flies up next to you, it's checking you out. If it lands on your skin, it's like, okay, you're cool, and I'm here to remind you of something, right?
Yeah.
So, everything's interacting. We're all interacting at all times. We just forget. Yeah. And I always like to, hear about other people's belief systems. So that's where that question is kind of coming from. Let's see. What are you naturally gifted in?
I am gifted in calming people down. From my voice, I have a very hypnotic voice that puts anybody, if I'm talking to them, eventually they're like falling asleep.
Have you considered doing like audiobooks? You listen to them?
I do. I have not considered that. I am getting trained in hypnotherapy.
Are you?
I do have, so I do have some training in it. It's getting the certified in an aspect, and I'm wanting to incorporate that.
With your massage?
With the massage, absolutely, with releasing.
That would be amazing. What a nice experience. That combination would be amazing.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you could, I can't speak for you, but I don't know if I could pull off doing both of those things at the same time, but I bet you could if you got super practiced. Yeah.
I think so. It'd be fun just to kind of see how to incorporate that together.
Yeah.
And, just to help with releasing, that's an added benefit of releasing while I'm physically manipulating the body into releasing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. What about ESMR? It's the videos with sound. Is it ESMR? I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
But I'm now interested. Okay. I want to learn about that now.
After this, we're gonna do a Google search. Yeah. Awesome. For anyone who's listening, I think it's ESMR videos. We were just talking about it last night in class. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. I have so many questions. What is your favorite thing to do when you are expressing love?
I'm a toucher, so it's caressing. My niece is 12, and one of my favorite things is that she'll come cuddle. I was on a hike with a friend yesterday, and she has a 4-year-old little boy, and he doesn't open up much. And I hang out quite a bit, and it's teaching. They've been really working hard on consent, so they don't just touch him without his permission. So they ask him, "Would you like to hug me?" And he's always no, and that's okay. He gets excited to see me. So we were hiking yesterday, and he came back, and we asked him to wait up because we were waiting for people past. He came back, and he actually willingly touched my wrist on his own. And I turned back to my friend and said, oh my gosh, that's the first time that he has touched me. And she's like, oh. And then a little bit later on the trail, he was like, I want to hold Amy's hand. And so he came up and held my hand. And I blessed my friend. She actually caught it. But it just melted my heart in that moment. And so we're just hiking along and he's holding my hand. And
you feel safe.
Oh, it was such a beautiful, beautiful moment that was, 'cause I'm a toucher, that I could express to him how much I love him and how much I appreciate him. And, that was his, I feel more of a gift to me that he's like, here. And he held my hand for quite a good bit of time. And towards the end, he didn't want to hug me. That's okay. Holding my hand was enough.
Yeah, you don't know what the future holds.
I don't know. But yeah, that was such a...
You just slowly worm your way into his heart.
It was just such a beautiful expression of love too.
Totally.
That, I
it's
believe...
It's a testament to who you are and the space that you hold for people.
Yeah. And I will always hold that moment. But that's those moments of, even with my partner, it's we talk about how we want our space, but we want you in our space. And so we'll be reading, but some body part has to be touching in that nice connection. So
that's really sweet. Were you always like that? Were you like that when you were a kid?
I think so. I think I did from my mom. My mom was number 2 of 7 children. And my aunt once told me, my mom was a good cuddler. Give her a baby, especially with babies, man. She will hold babies all day long. They love my mom. And she can calm them and quiet them. And she's magical when it comes to babies.
Me too.
But my aunt once told me, she's like, oh, yeah, when we get in trouble with our parents or with the older sibling, we would just go cuddle with your mom. And I think, my mom loved cuddling us. And, my dad gave hugs and kisses. And so I think that...
You came from an affectionate family.
I grew up in that aspect of getting lots of love and cuddles. And, I think that, my sister's even that way. I love giving her hugs. We give good hugs. She cuddles with all her children. Even her 17-year-old son will still cuddle with her or still cuddle with his sister. So it's just not that fear of affection.
Yeah. Well, interesting that I picked up on that. The first thing I said is, are you a hugger?
Right. And I think in my head, I was like, do I hug her? Because you're trying to read people too and giving that permission. But I was, paying. I'm like, okay, I'm a hugger. And I'm trying to figure out, are you?
Yes.
And then you just said it. And I'm like, okay, this is great.
Yes. I am definitely a hugger. I'm like you. I love expressing love. I think I was always like that. I took a detour from it, but I came back. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What qualities do you most admire in women?
I most admire the courageousness of women and the determination they have when they are pursuing something, when they have been empowered to pursue a dream, and I'm not going to take a no for an answer. And just the resourcefulness they have when an obstacle comes, that they're able, like, okay, that's in the way, what other route? I think that we've had to be that way. I think that has been passed down generation of obstacles. And I think that women have such a great tenacity to overcome those obstacles. And especially when you give support and when they can receive support, watching just how much they can shine.
Mm-hmm. Did you learn that from your mom?
I think I learned it in spite of my mom. I think watching her, there's
in action.
Absolutely. I mean, she was a fierce mama bear who protected us fiercely. And I don't know if we were her dream. Like, I know she wanted children. That was a big thing. But that's kind of what she did with her life. I don't know if she knew that she had options to do other things. She grew up on a farm. There were 7 children. She was one of the older ones. So she was helping take care of the children. She was the cuddler. She kind of took on that role. So I think she just followed that path because that's what was presented to her and that's
Yeah.
what she was used to. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's what everyone was doing.
Right. So I don't know if she knew there was even options that she could have been something different, or even if she wanted to. I do know that she did always want us, though. So I do appreciate knowing that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we were planned.
That's pretty awesome to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one thing even to plan children, but then to change your mind and and realize, maybe I got in over my head.
She did tell me once that she wanted to have more children than her mom. And I remember thanking her for not.
That would have been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been.
It's a lot for everyone involved, including her, but especially the children, because they just don't get that much.
Right. And I think that, she came from a big family and everybody pitched in. I'm not sure being a stay-at-home mom would have been possible with that many children at that time too.
Yeah.
So I think I definitely appreciated that aspect. She changed her mind.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got more of her.
Yeah, definitely.
What about in a man? What do you admire most in a man?
I really admire men who acknowledge they have a feminine side and aren't afraid to tap into it. That they don't have to put on this much. They can let kind of this toxic masculinity down, especially when they have a daughter, watching them, or even just children in general, or even watching with their partner and their wives when they get emotional. They're not detached when they can show up and be present in that moment and not be afraid of the emotion or afraid of being sensitive.
Or expressing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And expressing it in a healthy and vulnerable way.
Yeah.
So that their children learn to do the same.
Right.
Especially, if they're raising girls. Mm-hmm.
Right. I love it when I have a few male friends who can definitely express their feelings. And I think that's a challenge for men to be able to identify what they're feeling and to be able to express that. And I know in my whole life that the men that I grew up with, typically it was a macho thing. It was I think my brother, I remember this one
Eastern
time.
Oregon.
Right, Eastern Oregon.
Yeah, it's not Portland.
Right. No.
Yeah.
My brother was probably 10, 11, maybe 12. I can't quite remember. But he was riding a three-wheeler. He flipped it, and the motor burned the inside of his thigh. And my dad took him to the hospital, got him all patched up, brings him home. And my brother proudly says, "And I didn't cry or nothing," is what he said. He was so proud of the fact he didn't cry at a physical burn. And I mean, which yay for him. Like he was so proud of that, but that it would have been okay. Like if you would have cried, like it wouldn't have said anything different.
Yeah.
So
it's okay to express your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's not a weakness. It's actually a strength.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it was just it's very interesting. And he's still very much that way.
Yeah.
But he has 2 little girls, and it is amazing to see in those moments when they get hurt and he picks them up and he's like, "It's okay. It's okay. Show daddy where it hurts." Oh, just watching him turn to mush, because that was not him growing up. He was the older one.
Yeah. So he has that opportunity.
Yeah, to see that. So
yeah,
he's come quite a far ways for that. But
children are pretty amazing that way.
Right.
I really thank my daughter for softening my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gave me the opportunity to heal a lot of things because they're such a great reflection of who you are if you're listening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What did you love doing as a child?
I loved outdoors. One of my favorite things was my dad used to fish, and he would take me fishing. My brother wasn't interested, and I was always, so he would take me fishing with his buddies. I loved camping. I still do love camping. So anything that I could be
outside,
right? When it was time to feed the cows on the farm with Grandpa, when we visited, I was out there, I want to feed the cows, I want to help milk. I was just outdoors. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fishing is really, I I catch and release. I don't fish anymore necessarily, but if I were to fish, I would catch and release. But there's something about being in a river and or the ocean or wherever you might be fishing, and that meditative experience, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with your father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fished with mine as well. It's a really nice experience.
It was the moments we got to see him tender, is the fishing and the hunting, which is kind of interesting as we're out there hunting.
Yeah.
But
what did you hunt?
I just really rode with him.
Okay. What did he hunt?
We hunted. I mean, we would hunt deer. We would hunt bear. And definitely it was one of those, was that you hunt it. We use everything.
Yeah.
So it was very much in a respectful way.
Yeah.
It was not we're doing this just to take.
Yes.
He does it, he enjoys it. But it was the moment of it would just be me and him riding in the truck. And there was this moment where he pulls over and he's, look at that view. Look how beautiful that view is. And those aren't words I typically hear from my father, is look at that. And those were the tender moments of watching him really appreciate being out there and appreciating that he took me, that he wasn't, oh, no, this is a guy thing. It was, oh, you want to come along? So that he allowed us into that realm of what he enjoyed.
Your childhood sounds really lovely. Let's see. Not that it was perfect, but it just sounds like you had some really lovely memories, or you do. Speaking of which, tell me a childhood memory that you've never shared with anyone, or you've shared with few people.
Oh, there's so many. The moment I became afraid of cows, actually. It's kind of funny. I think it's funny. My grandparents had a dairy farm, so of course you bring the cows in to milk them. And I loved being out on the farm. Loved being out with Grandpa, wherever Grandpa was. And he brought this one cow in, and he was giving it medicine like it needed. And then it kind of freaked out. And he did release it so it wouldn't injure itself or whatever from the confines, and let it go on its way. And that was the moment I became, I think I saw the sheer power of cows. They're huge animals.
Oh, they are.
They're not before,
you're just petting them.
Well, you would pet them or
give them some food.
It was the moment where it was like, oh,
that thing can kill me.
It could crush me. I get why Grandma and Grandpa don't want us in the cow field because of that. And I wouldn't go to the barn for years, and I would have nightmares at my grandparents' when we stayed at their farmhouse, and this fear that it became very Animal Farm. The cows were angry at us humans and were going to take over. My parents knew I had nightmares. They didn't, and they were screaming nightmares that would wake everybody up. So bless my grandparents and my parents. But
you were a child.
But yeah, and that was and my parents were fantastic. Every time I had nightmares, every time they came and checked. It wasn't just let her scream it out. It was literally they came, they reassured me, made sure nothing was out of the ordinary. Because that's another fear, is what if the one time I scream and they don't come and I'm screaming because something seriously is wrong.
Yeah.
So they showed up every single time. But I was terrified of staying at my grandparents' farm for the longest time because I was afraid the cows were going to revolt when we were sleeping.
Now, I'm sorry, not interrupt.
But see, it's funny.
Well, it is as an adult, not when you're a kid. I totally get it.
But I was still obsessed with the cows. I still wanted to go pet them. I just didn't want to be in the barn, and I just didn't want to sleep. That was that.
You respected them.
Yeah, I think many people who do you tell? I'm afraid of cows, because everyone's like, what?
I understand now when you say I was afraid of cows. Yeah. I had a different perception of what that might have looked like. It makes a lot more sense now. I didn't have a fear of horses, but I had a healthy fear of horses. Once especially, I got bucked off or kicked. Right. Then you're like, oh, this can do some serious damage. This beast is, intimidating.
And
don't mess with them. They can be mean. Yeah.
And who wants their legacy to be that you got killed by a cow?
That'd be terrible.
That's how I ended this world was, I got killed by a cow.
That would be, yes.
Like,
yeah. But you don't want that.
No. Right.
There's so much more that you have to give. Yeah.
Right.
We're glad that you made it through the cows.
Me too.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. What were the relationships like that you witnessed as a child?
Not the healthiest. Watching, I think that is, I had some pretty unhealthy relationships because of what I'd experienced. It took a lot of work to get to where I am now and how I view relationships and being present and not being afraid. And I think I conservative family, from my grandparents being very conservative, on and on. A lot of, and in the Christian, where the man leads and the woman is to submit or to follow.
So it was religious.
It was pretty religious.
Okay, I grew up religious too. Yeah.
So I realized that they kind of tend to, I think, the partnership gets left out when it comes to the whole religious. It's the man is the head of the household, but they skip like the whole biblical aspect of how the woman's the helper and how she's also you, like you become one. And
she's just an extension of you.
Right. And so I think that sometimes I would have liked to have seen the women respected a bit better, their ideas and thoughts about things, or their viewpoints would have been taken into consideration, and also see that the women would have maybe voiced a little bit more, was a little bit more adamant about speaking up.
Or heard.
Yeah. So despite that, I think my parents have raised actually two very strong women. I am very outspoken about things that I am passionate about or that I see that is not right. Like, no. Like, I will call people out.
You're an advocate.
I was like, yeah. And even my sister. I admire my sister. She's my best friend. One of my closest.
That's really sweet.
Right? I love her so much. My parents weren't planning any more children. She was the gift, the surprise. And we are only a year and 15 days apart. And growing up, we fought. We were so close in age. We shared a room. We fought. Like, my mom, and I don't know if it's a sheer will of my mom trying to manifest this, or she truly just believed in it. She's like, sure, you fight now, but you're going to be best friends when you grow up. And we're like, whatever. I mean, I was very tom girl. She's very girly girl. Like, two opposites, absolute opposites. And she was right. Absolutely. Like, we love traveling together. She created a beautiful little mini her. My niece is probably one of my most favorite people in the whole world. I love conversations with her.
Kids are so great.
Blunt. They're very honest and blunt.
They're so honest. They haven't been taught to filter shit.
Right? They'll say something.
They're just like, pow. And you're like, oh, hey.
Right? Yeah, right.
That was powerful.
Right?
Tell me more.
Absolutely. And I think that my sister's doing a very good job raising a strong, independent woman. I think from example, she is very strong, independent. She serves in the military. So I think there are moments where she's had to be, really strong and authoritative, and I love it. And at the same time, she's teaching her son to be a very gentleman. That's the one that people comment is he's sweet. He opens up door. He's very thoughtful. So she's raising him to be more on the softer side. And it is beautiful watching these two human beings that absolutely are my sister and also absolutely different. So, and I don't even know what the question was anymore.
That's okay. But, I was just enjoying your admiration of them. And your sister. Yeah. You were talking about how close you are with your sister and that she's your best friend.
She is.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. She has spent most of her career overseas, so I've gotten to travel. Yay. But I can't wait till she's done, and hopefully she'll be closer.
Yeah.
My favorite times were when she was stationed stateside, so I could get that closeness.
Where is she right now?
She's in Germany right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Wow. I was just saying today, as a matter of fact, I was working with veterans earlier today, and I was just saying, like, the ability to do service for our country is so admirable, because I couldn't do it.
Oh, neither can I.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't incur the trauma that comes along with it.
Yeah.
It's such hard work.
Oh, absolutely.
And you come back and you are transformed.
You are.
Yeah.
And watching her, I mean, she has her hurdles. I think any person who serves in the military will have some kind of trauma hurdle that they have to overcome. Sure. My father was a Marine. And so it was quite interesting because we weren't sure he was going to follow in his footsteps. He has 2 boys from a prior marriage that wasn't really much present in our life. And
the 2 boys?
Yeah, the 2 older boys weren't really much of a present in our life. And so we just didn't think anyone was going to follow my dad's footsteps. And here my sister comes, girly girl and all, says she's going to join the military. And we all looked at her like, what? Like, you were the pickiest eater. You like to be clean.
Maybe she likes the discipline, though, right? And the organization. Right? It is very organized and very disciplined.
Right? Oh, and it is. And so she joined it, and we weren't sure how she did last. It really did transform her into being a very different human being, and not in a bad way. And I think that, I mean, she's definitely an amazing mom. And I think it gave her direction. It gave her, in the discipline, it has really helped her be organized, helped her know how to run a household, she's had several houses, and, she's had to, she had crew members under her, how to be in charge of like 20 to 30-year-olds,
Yeah. So 2 kids are like a piece of cake.
Right, exactly. But yeah, definitely more good. Definitely saw it. And of course, carried on my, I think that as far back, I think that they could trace back somebody into the military. So like my dad.
In your family?
Yeah. So my dad was, my grandpa was, I think that his dad or something was, and they can trace it back. So.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, the Marines were good for my dad. Totally transformed him into being a very, responsible. That's the word I've been looking for. Very responsible adult.
I think that happened for my dad too. He was in the Navy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gave my dad direction, gave my sister direction.
Yeah. And support.
And opportunities.
I mean,
to
travel, to get outside of where you are, to see the world.
And learn so many different skills. I mean, that's the thing. She has so many different skills. Just like, all right, well, this is where we're putting you. This is where we're putting you, and the training. And, I think it's amazing what they do provide.
They do. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
So. I'm with you. Okay, so what is one of your earliest memories of feeling love?
Probably my dad's mom. If I look back at my dad's mom, would watch us sometimes. And my dad was her favorite. She had 3 girls and a boy, and so my dad was her favorite. And by extension, that meant we were her favorites. And
lucky,
right? She was a good grandma to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we were the youngest set. Like all the others were all my cousins were significantly older, like 10 years or plus older.
So you were the new babies.
We were. So we were like in between our cousins and our second cousins in age. So that was, but yeah, I think just the joy she had when we were over. It was just like the running and grandma being all excited to see us, and always had goodies for us, always. But her place was the safe place, It was run to grandma's arms, and, She was always happy to see us, always a smile. There was no like, oh, not these kids again, or oh, they're driving me crazy. Like, she could put up with a lot.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always good to have a good grandma, right? You already told me who you experienced it with. How about this? If you could change one thing about your parents, what would it be?
I would change their communication style.
Okay. Tell me more.
I think that they don't know how to communicate very well. And it has led to some misunderstandings, have led to hurt feelings. They don't express their feelings in a very good way. They don't know how. They don't communicate them well.
Okay, so expressing feelings mostly.
Probably
communicating
mostly.
feelings.
Communicating their feelings. Communicating. Yeah, I mean, they communicate about other things fine, but communicating their feelings particularly.
So letting you know how they feel about you, or how they feel about what you did, or
those kind of things.
Yeah, those kinds of things.
With each other.
With each other too.
Yeah, I mean, we could always tell when our dad was mad. Like, that was easy. I think the moment that broke my heart was one time my mom told me, "I'm disappointed in you." And it would absolutely broke my heart of like, I just disappointed my mom.
It's a hard thing to hear.
That is a very hard thing to hear. So, but I think particularly with them, I think that if they could be more open to expressing and communicating their feelings with each other.
My sister told me recently, my oldest sister told me recently that she was quite upset about it. That my dad told her that he was disappointed in her. And I think that's a pretty strong statement to hear from a family member, especially a parent.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say bravo to you for doing the work around that.
Right. Well, and I think coming back to when a parent says they're disappointed to you, that really what's going on is they're disappointed that you didn't live up to their expectation of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think parents sometimes forget that we're human beings and that we're a gift. We're not owned by them. That we're going to make our own choices regardless of what they think, and that sometimes it is hard when you break out onto your own path or you make a decision that they don't agree with. But it doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. They just aren't seeing the events from the way you see it. And really, disappointment in anybody is that they had expectations of you instead of just accepting who you were. They had expectations of who or how you were supposed to act. And when people get disappointed when you don't behave in the manner in which they want you to.
And you're an autonomous being. I mean, they are in charge of you, but you come through them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Their job is to guide us.
Yeah. You're like the bumper pads.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the training wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I keep losing my place. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
I would have liked to have been raised probably closer to family.
Extended family.
Yes, extended family. Just because I would have liked the opportunity to have some of the relationships that my cousins have with each other or my aunts and uncles, because we were kind of so far that, and
did you feel isolated?
A little bit isolated from the rest of the family. I had cousins as an adult, it's been fun to get to know them. But it would have been cool to kind of grow up, with them, where my other cousins are like, oh yeah, we go to school and, oh yeah, that's my cousin. And, almost have a brother-sister relationship as of cousins, where I mean, they're my cousins. Like I don't have the same relationship with them that I have, say, with my brother and my sister.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think it would have been a lot more fun to partake in the big family events. And I mean, my parents we did go down there a couple of times a year. But I still it would have been fun they grew up in more of the country. We were definitely the city, the city kids. And,
yeah, you're the city kids in Oregon City.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be laughing.
I mean, not quite, but to them, that
was the city.
That was
that was absolutely the city, yeah.
Right. And there's advantages. I remember when I was getting my driver's license, being told that they trusted me because I drive in Portland, so I could drive anywhere, according to them.
Yeah.
And, they're just driving on country roads.
Mm-hmm.
But, and there are moments like Christmas was magical. That was probably my favorite when all my aunts and uncles came back. And, it's a family of, my grandparents and their 7 children, and they bring their spouse, and you got the grandkids in a little farmhouse that's 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. On the farm. It was a magical time. I do love that no matter what kind of drama was going on with my aunts and uncles and with each other, whatever they had going on with each other, that it was magical for us kids. And so I loved those, when I look back, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I got those. But I would have loved the summers, where we went out to Bully Creek and swam, or, we went on the horse rides, or, we're camping with each other. Like they'd have big family campouts. And so
and you missed out.
I did, and it would have been fun to have got to experience my cousins when they were younger, and have be able to build that more close knit friendship with them. I think that they all share.
Yeah. That's why you're trying to build your own community.
That's right. We're all, connection. I feel that's why we're here, is about our connections. I think the only thing that transcends this world when we leave it is our connections that we are making and that we're going to make in the next lives. And
how we impact each other while we're here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because it goes by quick.
Right.
It goes by so quick. Let's see. How do you identify?
So I identify as a lesbian.
Okay.
And I use either she, her pronouns, or they, them.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. How old were you when you came out?
I was 21.
And what was that experience like for you?
Surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly, I was very blessed. It was good. I think my mom struggled the most with it. And it was like 3 months that I'd come over. She kind of barely talked to me. And finally I asked her one day, I'm like, do you just not want me to come home? And I said, I don't have to ever come back. She's like, no, I love you. You're my kid. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, but this seems very difficult. She's like, I just want you to be happy. And I said, I am. And that was her moment of, oh. And then she struggled probably a little bit more when I would bring partners home. She hasn't liked any of them until my most recent one. And I swear my parents love her more than they love me. Like, they absolutely adore her so much. And so that was my mom.
She just had really high standards for who
and I
she
think
wanted
that Christian,
you to be with.
That's the whole, she was afraid I was going to go to hell because that's what she was told.
Right.
This whole thing is that's, and there's so many Christians out there that still believe that. And,
I know. We were Christian.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. That's gross. So I think she really struggled with the, I don't want my kid to go to hell. But then it's the, I think watching how much it's transformed my life from, I tried really hard there for a while to dress in dresses or, wear the girly shirts. And I can't remember. It was probably in my 30s that I started, I cut my hair short, and then I started wearing more clothes that I felt more me, represented me. And
that made you comfortable. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is I felt so exposed trying to be what everybody else thought I should be, trying to be the good Christian. I mean, I struggled in relationships. And that was a struggle in my 20s. It's like, oh no, am I going to go to hell? I don't want to go to hell. Because these are also teachings that I grew up with, and where's my belief? So my 20s was really a time of having to look back, and I lost one of my best friends over it because she was Christian too. She was the pastor's kid. So I literally made coming out absolutely changed my whole friend dynamic. It was a big decision in that aspect. My sister, she didn't care. Whatever, you're still my sister. And my dad didn't have much feelings on it. It wasn't until a couple years ago he shared with me, and I think he had the best response ever. So I didn't know ever how he felt. He didn't say one way or another. He was always nice to whoever brought home. But some of his buddies at work found out, I don't know if he was talking or whatever, but found out I was a lesbian. So they asked my dad, well, how do you feel about that? And he's like, what do you mean? How do I feel about it? And he's like, well, how do you feel about your daughter being gay? And she's like, how can I fault her? I understand why she likes women. She likes all the things I like about women.
It makes complete sense.
To him, he could relate because he loved women, and he could relate to his child and why I would love women because of all the things that he loves. So it was that whole beautiful, when he shared that with me. I mean, I think he wins
validation,
Dad of the Year for that response. I mean, that's anything you could hope for. And then I think the only other one I was really nervous to tell was my grandma. She reads the Bible every single day. And I shared that with her. And she just looked at me and says, honey, my job is to love. I've read that Bible every single day, and it tells me my job is to love. Everything's else up to God. And so I'm going to love you because you're my granddaughter. And it was one of those, and I know that is not the typical response from any Christian family, conservative family at all.
No, it's I want Christian families, how I want them to respond and show up.
Right?
That's exactly what being a Christian is supposed to be. Yeah.
So, and that's what I love.
That's theoretically what we are teaching, right?
Right. And so I got that experience. I got, now I do have family who don't quite believe in it, I have one amazing aunt. Her and I are probably the most liberal of the family. So we have a very special connection because the rest of our family, literally the rest of our family is conservative and goes to church and all that other stuff. But we have this special connection, and because she's out there and she's like, heck yeah, I support you. And so I know that if anyone of my family came after me, all I had to do was call her, and she's the fierce one. She's definitely
she's got your back.
Everyone in the family, she will speak up. She will call you out. And I think that, and she inspires me because she went after her dreams, and every day she lives her best life, living her dreams, and didn't let anyone tell her no. Didn't let any man stand in her way. She was going after this, and you can either walk alongside me or get off the train, buddy, because...
What a great influence to have. Were you close when you were young?
We weren't, because she lived in California. And,
okay.
She didn't have many, or she doesn't have any children. And that's the one thing I love is, I was raised also that's what happens is you have a family. And she was like, not everyone is meant to have children, and that's okay. And I was like, wow, this is great
for her to opening, broadening your perspective on what
absolutely. Things. She, I just love it. I love that she just lives her best life, and she's there. She's there for you if you need her, and she's definitely someone you can call if you need someone to battle with you.
It sounds like she had a great impact on you, because look at the aunt you've become.
Right. She definitely had a huge impact. I didn't get as much time with her. So I wouldn't necessarily say I wasn't closer. I didn't get as much time with her.
As you would have liked.
But I definitely get a lot more time as an adult with her. I think that we can connect on that level. And also as an adult, I can choose where I travel. So
True.
Choose who I call and have conversations with.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you have different opportunities now.
Yeah.
What hurdles have you personally faced, and how have you overcome them?
Oh, So one, there's the being queer and growing up in a religious family, challenging my own beliefs. And is I had rock solid Christian beliefs, like, they raise you up in that, rock solid hardcore beliefs. And I probably didn't start walking away from those beliefs and really start questioning things until my mid-30s, where I became okay with, I don't quite believe that. I don't believe that you're telling me God is love, but when I am feeling love for a woman, somehow that God's not in the midst of it if God is love. And you can't tell me what I feel is not love. I know what love feels like. I've been loved, from family. I know, those are the kind of things of wait a minute. And I think that people I don't even know if you have to teach someone to love in the aspect. I think it's just innate in us. And that...
I think it's definitely innate in us. I think it gets trained out of us.
Absolutely.
And I think it could be modeled differently to us so that we don't always understand what love can be.
Absolutely. But I think that it's just innate in us. And
until we're taught that that's not okay, or it's not an okay
or
way
if
to
we make
express
a
ourselves.
choice, we may make a choice to protect ourselves to also not express love because it's been a painful experience, very, very painful experience.
Right?
Or, there's unhealthy attachments to love.
For sure.
Kids who love their parents who harm them.
Yes.
They still love their children, or they still love their parents, even though, So...
Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so should we not love our parents if they harm us?
I don't think, unless it's to help, if it's just for your protection, if that's what's going to get you to the next day, if the loving your parents is harming you, I think that it is safe to put up a wall or barrier. And there's the whole thing of unconditional love. You can love somebody without their presence in your life. You can love somebody from afar. You can definitely put up boundaries. So, anyone gets to decide who they're going to love or who they express their love for, or to say, no, I no longer love this person. So I don't think it is should we. I think that you should be you got to feel what's best for you. I think that's if loving your parents is what you need for your own mental health, for your own well-being, despite them, if you need to forgive them so you're not harboring anger and it's not affecting you and your relationships, or if not loving your parents is going to provide these beautiful relationships in other aspects. So I think it all comes down to what is going to benefit you the best.
So wise, Amy Gunn. Listen to you. Let's see. How can people be more supportive of the LGBTQ community or of a person who identifies as queer?
I think just being there for them. I think that in that aspect of, keeping any thoughts to yourselves. That's the whole thing is one of the things I love, I hate so much is I was raised with the whole love the sinner, not the sin. So if you can't support me fully in being queer, if that's a hot topic for you, oh no, you don't believe in it. I don't need to know that you don't believe in it. Plain and simple. I don't want you to come in and be like, oh, well, I love you, but I don't quite believe in your lifestyle. Keep your mouth shut. Really.
I wasn't asking.
Keep those opinions to yourself.
Just I'm not telling you how to live your life.
You don't need to comment on how I choose to live my life because, it's not your business to comment anyway. I think it's the biggest thing.
You have really good boundaries.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've made, I am choosing to be the most authentic to me. And if you can understand that how I'm living my life is what's most authentic to me, and you live your life being most authentic to you. And now, and I think that's just exist. Why do you care? How does me being with a woman affect your life?
It doesn't.
Exactly. It doesn't affect you at all.
No,
you know?
if anything, what it does is it just highlights where you are uncomfortable.
Right. Right. And I think, if people can go in and ask themselves what their issue is with this and really dig in deep, and I think that so many people have a fear about it, but they hide behind also religion. So this is wrong, but I think that there's a fear at admitting to, most sexuality is on a curve. No one's, it's very rare that someone's completely heterosexual or completely homosexual.
Totally.
It's totally on a curve. And I think that that there's this fear of like, oh no, if I find somebody of the same sex attractive, what does that mean? Oh no,
Can we be friends?
Like that whole thing. Or do I have to throw my all beliefs out? Do I have to throw all the beliefs I've had out? Or then it's the question. Nobody wants to question their beliefs. People struggle. I think people really struggle to question things that they were raised up into belief.
Oh, for sure.
Because that can spin. When you start questioning that, and then, especially if you have these amazing parents and you put your full trust in them, or your grandparents and they were these amazing people, then you're starting to think, but I don't agree with this belief I was instilled with. Oh no, does that make them a bad person? Or we don't want to shatter these images we also have. And to realize that our grandparents were fallible. Our parents were fallible. They made mistakes.
And they were a product of their generation.
Oh, absolutely.
And the environment of that generation. Mm-hmm.
And my parents did a better job than my grandparents did. That's, I think, what you can all you can hope, right?
Yeah.
My sister's doing a better job raising my niece and nephew. And even her expressing, she's like, I don't know how to identify my feelings, so how do I help my kids identify their feelings? I heard my sister recently tell my niece, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Like, mind blown. Like,
I know.
Like, kudos. I'm so glad that happened, that my sister could, say that to my niece, and restore that,
It's about repair.
Right. And that's the thing is restore that hurt so that way there isn't something that's not another wall or another brick that puts a wall, to add to the wall that's going up. Why do we have walls? It extends from our childhood. And if we can...
The need to protect ourselves.
Right? And if we realize that we put a brick there, taking it down, and keeping that lines of communication and teaching your child that they can trust you with their feelings, and that you're not just going to be like, oh, I didn't hurt. You want to know what hurt feelings are, those kind of things.
I'll show you it.
Right? Instead, it's oh, thank you for speaking up and telling me you had hurt feelings so I can fix this. Mm-hmm. And, I hope to, continue being better where I can express feelings of like, hey, I had a huge breakthrough with my partner. We everyone keeps asking, have you fought yet? And we don't fight. We have discussions. We literally do. We have had some misunderstandings.
Don't always agree.
Nope. And it's such a gentle. And I remember there was a situation I'd asked. I said, hey, can you make some time for me? And she's like, yeah. And then I was expressing to her as like, so my feelings were hurt, which is a big deal just to acknowledge and without blame, not like you hurt my feelings, but my feelings were hurt. And what can we do? How can I better communicate with you when something is super important so that we can avoid this? And it's about building that kind of, and that's what I want to continue is instead of putting up a brick of like, oh, you hurt my feelings, you did this, and put up that brick, build a wall. It's that, hey, how can we come together as partners and work through this so that way, because I want my lines of communication. I want her to be able to come to me and say, hey, I'm upset, or hey, my feelings are hurt, or hey, this isn't working for me, or hey, can we talk about XYZ? Because we both have our own traumas from our own past that, we weren't, and so learning to communicate in a healthy way of what's going on so that walls can be taken down instead of being reinforced, I think is the goal.
And to work through your traumas together, because that's what relating is.
Absolutely.
Romantic or not.
Right? Yeah.
Friendship. Yeah. Family members, everyone is highlighting essentially putting on blast the stuff you still have to
Right.
work on. And you can either be like, la, 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 I am perfect. Or you can,
Yeah.
listen to the message and work on it.
Admitting when you're wrong, saying sorry, that's a hard thing. I mean, nobody wants to be wrong.
Especially if it hasn't been modeled to you.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have parents that were ever like, I fucked up, I'm really sorry about that. I never should have said that to you. Or, I never should have treated you that way. Or, taking responsibility for their actions, then as an adult, like, you sound very secure attachment style. I was about to say. And I know that it takes effort and work, like in practice.
A lot of work.
Yeah. It's not like you just, so easy. But at the same time, like, if that wasn't modeled to you, learning how to do that in your adult life, and feeling safe enough, or picking a partner.
Oh, I didn't pick her.
That will practice.
Right.
She picked you?
No, I manifested her.
Good for you.
Under the new moon. I was under the new moon.
I got really clear on what I was asking for.
I think
for anyone who's listening, that's what you do.
Right. That was my thing. Was I had ended some relationships. I'd done the work, really done a lot of work. And so I went out to the universe, Alex, under the new moon. I was like, okay, I am ready to meet my soulmate. And I knew, like, that I knew it was going to happen. Like, it was no doubt, like, the smile on my face. I knew. I felt ready. I felt it was so close.
You were ready.
So she pops up, and I see that she's in Canada. So she is in Canada. And I was like, no, I ain't doing long distance. So again, for 4 months, I manifested her. And the universe is like, this is the person.
Hello.
Amy. Right? So I finally was like, okay. So I reach out to her we were in a Facebook group together, and they do this anonymous thing where you can make a confession. So, because I had no idea if they were seeing somebody, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, but was basically, and she just radiates beauty and confidence, absolutely 100%. And that was my line. I'm like, you radiate beauty and confidence. Would you happen to be interested in getting to know somebody across the border? Are you single? And so it all came from that. And then so she thought her best friend who was in the group totally wrote the post. And she's like, whatever. Even her best friend's girlfriend totally thought she wrote the post. She's like, no, I swear I didn't. Well, I was working. And as a massage therapist, you're not checking your phone. You're working. So at the end of the day, you have to scroll back because it didn't tag you anything because it's all anonymous. I had to scroll back, and she had responded, yes, I'm open to it. And yes, I'm single. And so I I inboxed her, or sent her a message in her inbox. And that was September 11th of 2021. And talking a month later, I totally surprised her with my best friend helped me set it up. I had ordered flowers over there, and I brought some Moonstruck chocolates, flew there. She had no idea I was coming. There's a whole video of it too. And basically, her best friend was like, open the door. And she didn't look at first. She didn't see me, as she just kind of opened the door and walked away. And then she did see me, and she's like, but that was because I had asked her, I'm like, do you like surprise? She's like, I don't know. No one's ever surprised me. I'm like, well, I need to know, because that is totally like, that's my jam.
Do you like surprises?
I love surprising. Not necessarily. I love being super thoughtful, and that is, because there's nothing, how amazing is it to think about the person and be like, oh my gosh, I want to make their day. How can I make them feel amazing and special? And what can I do to really truly convey how much they mean to me? And, who doesn't like surprises? But some people don't. But I wanted to know. And also I didn't want to spend 3 months getting to know her. And then like you meet in person, then all of a sudden, like, it's static, it's dead. Like you're not compatible at all. But oh no, like,
it was a thing.
By the time I left that week and I asked her if she'd be my girlfriend. And yeah. So.
Who surprises you?
I surprise myself. I am amazed at the growth that I have done from where I've come from. So I was sexually abused when I was a child. And a lot of, I know my weight particularly was a barrier that, you can see, look at pictures and you can tell exactly when it happened because that's when the weight, and that's a barrier, and that's a big barrier that I continue to use when I'm afraid or scared, or it's what I put to distance, and to come from that and to get to where I am and overcome some of the beliefs from, the being queer, like that surprised me when I realized I liked women. Like, what? It makes sense.
How old were you?
I was in my teens.
Me too.
When I realized that. And then of course the struggle, like I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody. And then finally it's like, it couldn't hold it in. And, tried dating around. It was such an unhealthy, and I said some really unhealthy relationships. And, then to get to the point, and my growth, and I felt I was always growing, and my massage career is definitely, I think, has been a conduit for my growth. I don't think if I would have entered into the massage field that I would have ever been exposed to some of these different alternative healings, these different ideas of ways to be, like, mainstream jobs. Spiritual people typically aren't there. You may have one occasionally, but we don't thrive in like customer service in any of those kind of things.
The corporate world, the tech industry.
Right.
I made it through, but I wasn't. Yeah,
you weren't thriving.
I was not thriving.
Right. Yeah, so we don't thrive. We barely survive. Through it.
Yeah.
And so I think that I surprise every day that I wake up. I love growth. I love it. People say it's hard, and it is.
It is.
It's absolutely hard, but that's what I love. I love connecting with people, having those deep conversations. My friends are all of that aspect of. I don't do a lot of group things. My friends are very individual because I want to have that deep conversation. I don't want to connect on just a little minor, like, hey, we're connected and I'll never see you again. Sometimes it happens in the massage aspect, but in my own personal life, I love that. And I have clients that I connect with very deeply. It's a very intimate care that you give somebody, because they're not just getting on the table and exposing their body for you to work on.
They're completely vulnerable.
Right? And that's the thing is they're
trusting you.
Their bodies hold their trauma.
Totally.
Their bodies hold their wins, their successes. Their bodies hold their whole entire life story, everything that they're disappointed in themselves, they're disappointed in others. And that literally tells the story of their body. Now, I don't know, maybe specific stories. Sometimes I will be working and I'll get these flash images of something.
That's because you're clairvoyant.
Right? And then you're like, okay, something's going on around this. But it is one of those things and what a privilege that someone is trusting you. That's a huge responsibility not to break that trust, to honor them as they're on the table. And you're manipulating their muscles to release that, but they're having to do the inner work, the emotional work, to release those things. Otherwise, that's why we have chronics. And I have clients that keep coming back for the same thing. Okay. And it's meeting them where they're at. If that's where they're at, is where they just need the physical release. But then there's other people like, no, I want this resolved. I'm like, okay, you're going to have to dig a little deeper. What comes up when I'm working on that area for you? Just check in with your body. What do you feel? And trust whatever comes up. That's your unconscious talking to you.
Yeah.
Letting you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our body, our unconscious.
So intelligent.
Right?
It really wants to heal.
It does.
We get in the way. But
we allow our consciousness to get in the way, and
Yeah.
our beliefs and our thoughts to get in the way of what our body naturally wants to do. And, I think people don't know. How to check out and ask their body, or to feel in their body. Like when something happens, it's, where does this feel? Where do I feel this in my body happening? And that's where where you store it, or that's where the tools that you have that need to resolve it are for.
Mm-hmm.
So
I want to thank you for being so brave and for sharing vulnerably about your experience. How old were you when you were sexually abused?
I was 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very young.
Very, very young. No idea what was going on. Yeah.
Very confusing, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the things that drew me to massage, first I should start with how I got into massage, I think.
We were going to talk about it, so
Okay.
do it.
So let's do this. It's funny when I tell people, like, how'd you start massage? Because people are like, oh, I always knew. No, I was working in customer service for a major cell phone company. I remember the call I quit on. It was the
Good for you.
Right. Right. It was.
You're like, no wonder you're like,
no.
We don't thrive in customer service.
We don't thrive in that aspect. We don't.
We don't. No.
But I remember the call I quit on, and then I was looking, and I was done. It's like, okay, what job? I literally wrote out. I was writing down a list. What jobs do you not get yelled at? Literally was, and I'm like, so massage is one of them. I'm like, well, who yells at a massage therapist? Surprisingly, some do. I think I've been yelled at 5 times in 16 years, so I call that a win. So
that's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty good win. I mean, but in general, like, it's not a job to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Also, a job you don't have to do tech. I didn't want to do technology. I mean, that is not true. I mean, I run a business. You have to have technology. You can't do it by pen and paper anymore. Like, so I do appreciate technology. And then
imagining you doing it by pencil and paper was funny. Sorry.
Right. And then I didn't. And then having to get where I get to choose my own hours, and I couldn't bring my homework or my work home because huge boundaries around it. It frustrates me that employers take advantage of their employees by you have these projects and people take their projects home to meet deadlines and they're not getting paid for those hours. And you're literally giving up family life. You're giving up your own personal life. You're giving up so much for this fear that you'll get fired because you need this job to survive because you need food, water, shelter. So I definitely wanted a job where I couldn't, and you can't take massage home. I mean, then I started running a business and that's a whole nother game. But
isn't it?
It is. You're like, oh, all right. But it's so much freedom in it.
There
so
is.
Literally got into it because I wanted a job where I was not going to get yelled at. Little did I know that was the universe's way of putting me on this path. It took that one phone call because I wasn't listening otherwise. Like the universe could not get I didn't even know existed like this whole idea of like the universe like really conspires with you to make your dreams come true. Like it's its own energy force, and that I am the universe. Like I am source energy. And I'm just a aspect of, I mean, that's what I'm connected to source. I have all access to source energy until probably like 5 years ago is when I really started exploring all this. So that is how I got into massage. But this is the journey. This has been the journey that I needed to go on, in order to really access more of my spiritual side, to really get connected with it, to even acknowledge it was there, before I wouldn't have like, oh, I'm spiritual, thinking religion. Like the two were very like, not the same, not the same at all. But I thought they were because I didn't know. Nobody told me what was the difference. And I think that this journey has really, of just being a massage and my passion for it. I didn't know you could have like a passion for something you do could just continue to grow. I am more in love with giving massage and being there and showing up for people in ways that I want it to be shown up for. Introducing safe touch. There are so many people out there that don't know what safe touch is. They don't know that safe, and that's the thing is I want to introduce that safe touch. I want to introduce to them that it's okay. It's okay to love your body in that aspect. It is okay to, you don't have to live in that pain, that your body holds on that pain, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that there is touch out there where it's not touch, it's not meant for sexual, it's not meant to harm, it's not meant for discipline, but there is literally a touch that's out there that is just to comfort you, to help you feel safe. And our bodies need that. I mean, there's so many studies that show with babies, babies thrive when they're being held, NICU babies, orphan babies, they were dying off until they discovered that, some nuns started home babies and all of a sudden they're thriving, is that we need that touch.
We do. Our nervous system needs it to calm down.
And I think that's such a privilege to get to share with somebody, is there's somebody that's walking alongside you on this journey, that I may not know what your journey, but you have support. You have someone here that wants to help you release the trauma that's in your body, that's preventing you from doing the things you love or living your life to the best, fullest possible.
I love the parallels, but also I love listening to you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I think I need a massage.
Right?
Okay, let's see. I don't even know how. Yeah, where was I? I was so lost in what you were talking about. Okay. Let's see. How do we continue to create a safe and judgment-free space for individuals to feel supported and accepted in order to heal?
I think that showing up for them and hearing their story without comment. Like when someone, and share, or if you're going to comment saying, I appreciate that you're sharing this with me. I appreciate you being vulnerable. I think that there's not much of appreciation, or what are the words I'm trying to look for? I think that just simply being in someone's presence, not saying something, is so underrated. I think that people feel they need to have words. They need to say something that, to try and make it better. And that's the whole thing, is I try to fix it or try to make it better. But just being next to that person and honoring their story, and by just being in their presence, just by thanking them for sharing it and not having to try and fix whatever they're going through or trying to make them feel better about their experience, but just being just next to them so they know that they're not alone.
You're such a good person. Okay. We already talked about, we did talk about what inspired you to become a massage therapist. When did you begin Oregon Inclusive Massage, and what is your mission, if you haven't already covered that?
So I started off with the business name was Tranquil Intuitions, and that was before I had a business coach, and I'm so grateful because she's not just, we call her a business coach. She's actually a mindset coach, and absolutely changed my life in so many different ways. But she was basically like, no one knows what the hell Tranquil Intuitions is, which is true. Like, you hear that business, you're like, what do you do? Like, you don't know that I massage. Like, also, I didn't know how to market either.
She helped you get clear on what I do. Because I was going to point that out earlier. Right. You are so clear at certain points about what you're looking for.
Yeah. So it was definitely a clarity thing. And so who I wanted to help. And also one of the best piece of advice she gave me, she said, not everybody's your client. Stop trying to get everybody on your table. Not everybody's your client. Because I am meant to help certain people, not everybody. And I already knew that. Like I think a couple of years into doing massage, did I realize quickly, some people are going to freaking love you and other people are like, oh man, that wasn't so good. And I'm not meant to serve those people. My massage isn't going to support everybody. It's not meant to. I mean, there's so many different styles, and everyone, no matter the way you're trained, how it translates from our hands to the body is different for every single person. And that is why there are so many massage therapists out there, and they're so unique, and they are supposed to help their people. And I will tell you that every massage therapist I've come in contact, they are a fantastic massage therapist. Maybe not my fantastic to me, but they are, because of the clients that they help is exactly what they need. So,
you're so empowering.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So she got clarity on that. And then it really came time, what am I passionate about? Well, I'm a queer woman and I'm a bigger person. The two things that I have experienced hurdles around, I should say. Like, I've had comments about me being queer, you know. I've had, when I've worked for somebody, I had clients look me up and down and say, nope, all right, they didn't want me massaging them. Whatever. Like, I wasn't offended by that. And sometimes it was because of my weight. Sometimes it was because I was gay. Also, I feel that those are probably two of the biggest populations I rarely see when I was working in some of the chain spas scene. And I think it is because there's so much messages around people who have a body size that's not acceptable to society, that their form of self-care needs to be dieting, exercising, that you don't get to do quote-unquote luxurious things. You know, people view that, oh, massage is that way, or is this a luxury thing, or you can only get it if you're really taking care of yourself, or, you know.
My definition of health has to be your definition of health.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've also worked in environments where I was the biggest person there, and it made me question, like, do I even belong here? Would people even see me? Because people have this idea massage is healthy, and therefore you have to be healthy to get massage kind of mindset of this
breaking
whole, like,
through stereotypes.
Right? And then I'm like, do I even belong here? Like, does anyone want to get massage from me? And so I had to and that's, I think, where I love that this journey of massage has, and what I've wanted has reflected so much to me in causing me to look at my own viewpoints on, you know, my beliefs around I'm not healthy because my body isn't the size that society says it should be. And that I can't do the things I want because it'll be drawing attention. It was this fear of being seen that I'm overcoming. Like, and it's scary to get out there and be like, oh, this is what I do. And so my mission really became what I want is just to get the message out there that, one, nobody has any business saying anything about your body. That's nobody's business. Like, why are people commenting on whether somebody lost weight in the first place, or whether they should or shouldn't do something because of their size? Like, why do you care? It's not your body. And that at least there is a space there where it doesn't matter what size you are, what your shape is, or even if your body matches your identity, but you can still respect your body and give it the pain relief or the stress relief care that it needs, so that way you can do the things that you love to do. You can just pursue everything you want to, and that you can be authentically yourself. You don't have to hide if you're trans. You don't have to hide if you're a bigger person, or if you have health problems because of it, or whatever. This is a space that you can just be. Your soul you can show up authentically and allow your soul to shine, because your body is just the vehicle that drives your soul. I mean, that your soul drives.
It's a meat suit.
Right? I mean, and it's fantastic. And I love it.
It's the vessel, right, that we were given, right, for a certain amount of time. Yeah, and it's how we take care of it while we're here.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, it's not as easy, like the whole I'm going to try. I mean, anyone who's been overweight has had the struggle of trying to, you know, lose weight. And my message is that you don't have to love your body. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely okay to get stress relief and pain relief while you want to transform your body.
For sure.
While you're unhappy with your body. You're
deserving.
Right? Exactly.
At any point.
You know, exactly. And that's the thing, is if you want to lose weight, I'll be right there along the journey, cheering you on, helping you get the pain relief, helping you be flexible and mobile so you can do the things you want. You know, if you are, transitioning your body to where it matches your identity, I'll be right there alongside you to support you, that you can show up and be authentically you and get the self-care that you deserve. And so that's why I opened Organ Exclusive Massage. well, I gave it the name when I got clear, but that is my mission, is a space. I want to be a space for people who've been marginalized by society.
Your awareness is so beautiful. I love listening to you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I knew I was going to love you, but I'm just, Okay, let's see. We already covered some of this, so let me catch up. Okay, we're doing a little bit of a shift. What makes you feel loved?
What makes me feel loved? When people give me quality time. When people schedule time to give attention to me. Being present when they show up and are present and can have those conversations, who are willing to be vulnerable.
What has been your greatest lesson in love?
I'm going to have to give a shout out to my ex.
God bless those exes.
I mean, wonderful person. We were just not a match. She probably gave me the best gift. One day she told me, I would love to take away your insecurities, but that's your job, not mine. And I remember being so angry at her because I totally believe that was the job of a partner. I was insecure. You were supposed to make me feel secure. And she tried. And she did point out that every time she did, I would just raise the bar higher. Like, oh, you love me here, but we love me. So I wanted that I'm not going to walk away from you love, no matter what. I'm here no matter what you put me through kind of love. We split up, and it probably took me a good year and a half of being angry. Like, I was angry at her. My friends, that's all they heard about. Like, I was blah, blah, blah. She did this, blah, blah, blah. And then at one moment, it was this gentle, my guide gently was like, okay, it's time. It's done. Like, it's time. And I started looking at him like, I did not feel good about me. I did not like me. And that was my awareness of, oh man. So then I started asking, what could I have done different? How could I have shown up? And that was the shift, literally, like when I started working on my own insecurities, and I realized how toxic that kind of love is, of be there for anything, no matter what. That's not really the type of love I want. It's not a healthy love at all. And that I wanted, and so that transformed me into being a partner that I want you to live your best life, and I want to be along for the ride. But if our paths I'm no longer walking, if I'm going a different direction, you're going different, or if it becomes healthy, then maybe we need to reevaluate. But I want you to pursue your dreams. I want you to do the things that make you happy. You go where life is leading you to go, and we will either walk parallel along the path together, or we will diverge, or, take a fork in the road, or perhaps that we meet up back. I want my partner to feel free, that they are loved, but they're accepted just as they are and whatever path they walk, and that this be there for me no matter what is very unhealthy. It's very attached.
Conditional.
And it is very conditional. and my partner, and my partner felt suffocated by that.
Yeah.
Literally. It was not, it wasn't a good ending to it at all. But I think that's the greatest gift that somebody gave me with love, to transform me into being the person I am, and how I could look at love now and see what true love is, where I could really start dealing with my insecurities and love me. Like, everyone hears that saying, you can't really love somebody else until you love yourself.
It's so true.
Right? And so many people
you can understand that logically, but taking that really in.
Taking it in. And, and I know so many people are like, well, that's not true. I don't love myself and I really love my partner. And you're like, yeah, you won't get it until you get to the point. It's not until you truly love yourself do you realize that that's the best way to love your partner, because you really absolutely have to love yourself and put yourself first in order for you to give any kind of love out. And otherwise, you're pouring from
an empty cup.
You are. You're trying to pour from an empty cup, and you're becoming super attached. Every little thing.
And then you're expecting that person to fill your cup.
Right?
I always tell people, you're the cake.
Right?
You're the cake. They're the frosting. Right? They're only the frosting.
Right? Oh,
they're never supposed to be your cake.
Right? I think one of the most things I hate most is when people are like, oh, you make me so happy. I think I always correct it. I'm like, or I'll say to them like, I am so glad I contribute to your happiness, because no one can make you happy. They can only contribute to it. And so I think that's one of the things that,
You do make me really happy.
They contribute to it. And I do.
It's shared energy, though.
And then that's what I love is if you cannot, because when you say, oh, you make me happy, you're my world, I cringe.
Okay, my world.
Yeah, then that's I almost always hear those two go together, the same together. You make me happy, and you're my world, and it's that whole cringe. No, I don't want to be your world. I want you to be your whole own world. You going after your dreams, pursue them relentlessly, and I want to be your biggest cheerleader. I want to be your biggest support. When you are so exhausted, you're at that hurdle and you've been digging deep trying to get to the next level, you're trying to climb up that hill, I want to be there and you're in tears. I want to be there. You got it. You can do this. I believe in you. And then when you get to the top, I want to be the one with the biggest signs cheering so big. And and no matter where that takes you, no matter where that dream takes you. So.
You're like a cheerleader like I am.
A little bit. I think that's partly why I was a little drawn to you, too.
For sure. Like attracts like. Yeah. Let's see. How do you lead yourself?
Through meditation.
You were saying that you were meditating before I set up.
It has been one of the best things that I could have learned for myself is I spend at least 15 minutes daily meditating. And it's such a fantastic time of as you're trying to train your brain, was it all the thoughts are downloading and be like, no, shh, it's okay. Let's be quiet. Just be present is allowed me. And I want to be present because that's what we have. We don't have the past. We don't have the future. We literally just have what's in front of us. And if we're too busy worrying about the past, too busy worrying about the future, then we're not able to take the information that's being presented to us in the present and really make the changes that we want to make. And I think that's where the differences make when you show up and you're present. And so learning to be present in those moments to receive what the universe is giving to you, where your guides are guiding you to get those little bits of information. You
gotta let them in. Otherwise you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're like, hey.
Right?
Let me send you a dream instead. Are you getting the message? Is it loud enough?
And so meditation. And then the other thing I do daily, I have a really good friend. We do gratitude. So every morning we send each other, I send at least 10 things of things we're grateful for and why. And
you do this with someone?
I do this.
I love this practice.
So that's our thing. And it's so fun because we used to work together and we hung out all the time. And it was it confounded our coworkers because they're like, it doesn't make sense why you two are friends. And I'm like, well, if you hung out with us, you would know. It totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And there for a while, like we were disconnected. And then I went to go visit her. She has a little farm. Her dream's coming true. And so I went out to visit her. And then she was telling me how she did this with a friend who unfortunately is no longer in this world. And she was trying, and she was kind of lost at how much this practice meant to her. Meanwhile, that's one of the things that my business coach has us doing. You start in January and you write 10 things you're grateful for and why, which I could never get to stick. Like I would get to like day 17, 18 in my journal and just blah. Life gets busy, whatever. So I struggled so hard. And then I reached out. I'm like, hey, I know you mentioned this.
Accountability partner.
Yeah. I was like, hey, you mentioned this. I don't know how you feel, but if you would like, I'd be willing to be your gratitude partner. She's like, oh my God, I would love that. And it has brought us so much closer than we were before. And watching the things that have transformed in my life, from the littlest things to the big things and watching how much and how the little things you're grateful for and watching how deeper they get as time goes. Deeper and deeper and deeper you get with your gratitude, that you're just blown away. And then your list, of course, you're like, sometimes we send 15, 20 because you're just on a roll of like, I'm so grateful for this. And it looks...
The universe loves gratitude.
Right?
It is absolutely the number one way to manifest more.
Right? And it's
to be appreciation, to have appreciation for what you already have.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you live so much more connected and more positive. I think that's the big thing of, I can take on anything. Like, okay, I'm still alive. Like, I woke up, for another day to create. I get another opportunity to create. How amazing is that? I have another day that I get to support somebody or impact their life. There's so many things that you can do in your day. So many more creative ideas. You're open, more opportunities that you can see that your brain's not filtering. It changes your brain filters. So you're letting in.
Preach, girl, preach.
Right?
You're on a roll. Yeah. I don't need to say a thing tonight.
Yeah, so I think, those are the two things that lead my life is both, just the meditation and the gratitude, because it reminds me exactly who I am. And then, I'm always appreciating. That means I'm appreciating the clients on my table, and that, everyone who comes across my table, it's not an accident. They are meant to be there because I'm supposed to receive something from them, or they are supposed to receive something from me, or both. Mm-hmm. So, and it's helped me absolutely view my clients in a very different way, and definitely a lot more gratitude. And I just want, I want to inspire. I want to inspire my clients.
Me too. Mm-hmm. I want to inspire everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're so good. Mm-hmm. How do you stay positive?
Oh, gratitude, hands down. I mean, how can you not? When you stop and look at all the things and all the blessings that we have, from clean water, from washer and dryer,
God, water,
like hygiene, to even
a house,
right? To shelter,
a place to live, food,
right? Exactly. To seeing,
a beautiful sunrise,
right? Mm-hmm. I was out full moon the night, so the first. I was grateful for the little green patch of grass that was water, that I was laying in. Because most of it's all brown now. Mm-hmm. But I got to feel the grass. And then as I was laying stargazing, I got to see this beautiful shooting star. And I cannot remember the last time that I saw a shooting star. And the amount of joy that just filled my body at witnessing that was just, and being in moments. I mean, how can you not be grateful for when you're present in moments and get to see, you get to see shooting stars. Or aliens. I don't know if it's a ship. It could be either or, but how fantastic to get to see this. And
what an experience.
Right? I mean, to live in the Pacific Northwest where we relatively have no smog. You see clear skies, and to get to breathe fresh air.
Those trees, man. That's why I think I'm so appreciative. I come from California and I got here and I'm like, there are clouds.
Right.
They're humongous.
Right.
The sky is blue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's when you can be grateful for every little experience you have, because that's what we're here for. We came here for the experience of the human life. And
totally.
That means everything you get to taste. Come on, when you bite in, tamales are my thing. So biting into that, that delicious tamale. Oh, I love tamales.
Is it something that you can live without?
I frequently do, because trying to find a good tamale.
Oh, you got to find a grandma that can make them.
I have a coworker, shout out to her. She brought in tamales that her mom made. Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah.
And she is so incredibly sweet. I did ask her, I'm like, because I've tried finding some good tamales. And I said, I would totally pay you or your mom or whatever. I will buy all the greens. Would you make me some tamales? And she's like, my mom really doesn't do that. They don't want to be in the tamale business. I get that. And so she's like, all right, my mom said she'll make some tamales, so we'll do it. So it was like this 6-month thing. She's like, I promise we're going to make your tamales. I'm like, dude, whenever you get to it, I'm not no rush. And so her and her mom made tamales. I did give them money for, because I was like, no, she like, here's the list for ingredients. I definitely gave them extra, but it was definitely a gift, a one-time gift. I know that's not what they want to do. I'm so appreciative they were willing to do that for me.
It's hard to find good Mexican food in the Pacific Northwest.
It is.
That is one drawback of living here in California. Such good Mexican food.
There is, definitely some struggles.
I love Mexican food.
Right. There's a few taco trucks. So I love lengua tacos. And some people are like, what? Like, I'm willing to try it. I'm an adventurous eater.
With your relationship with cows, taking their tongue. Very interesting.
That is very interesting. I hadn't even thought about that before. But yeah, I think, I'll try just about any food once. I mean, at least once I'll try it. Unless it has a very strong smell that's off-putting, then I'm not sure that I can. Because, half of your taste is your smell. So, but I'm an adventurous eater. I will try anything. Come on, because you don't know if it's good. I mean, in other countries it's good for a reason, So I'm a very adventurous eater. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and try this. And I've tried one on every menu. They also have like the head and tripe and all that stuff. So I tried every single one, and I decided that I really liked the lengua. It's super tender. I was surprised at how like melt in your mouth it is. Great flavor. Absorbs it up. So yeah, but it is hard to find good Mexican food in the Pacific Northwest.
I love how open you are.
Thank you.
Who are the people who uplift you?
Oh, my partner, hands down. She's just there. Like, everything that I put into it too, like she gives back. When it comes to encouragement, I mean, I think I was in a funk a few days ago. It was like, I was just super frustrated, and I was like, this is what's going on. She didn't speak. She just kind of listened. And then it's like, it was time, it's like, all right, we're going to let you go. And I was like, thank you so much for listening. She's like, I got you, babe. So just in that aspect, the encouragement, I told her, I was like, oh, I'm getting ready to go do this podcast. And I'd never done it before. And she's like, I'm so excited to hear you're going to do great. Like, she is definitely my biggest fan, hands down, cheering me on, encouraging, supporting me. I think my sister is definitely one of those.
Your aunt?
Yes. Absolutely. My aunt, my mom, both my parents. I mean, my dad, he's always like, he's the one who gave me $1,500 to start my business because I had to have money in the account. And, that was his contribution, was like, no, I want to see you do this. Like, he helped me pay for massage school. So that, 16 years ago, I mean, he has shown up in financial, but also very supportive. Like, I was talking to you about the gift certificates, and he takes them and passes them out to his buddies, or anyway, like, he'll take them. He's like, can I get some more of those? My mom does too. They're like, this is what my daughter does. And like, I think that, just having them super proud of what I'm trying to do and supporting what my mission and what I'm trying, just basically what I'm trying to do. And by getting the words out, telling their friends and other people about me. And so I think I have a huge support system. I have my friend Steph, who's one of my closest friends, and I'll share, like, these are my goals. She's like, you can totally do this. Like, I'm so blessed to have such a good support system that, if I'm down, I'm not down for long. I've got somebody who's coming along, and if I feel stuck, they're like, you'll figure it out. You know this. You got this. It was
a good choice on your part, though, too. You chose good people.
I did choose. And my business coach, she absolutely, from the mindset.
She sounds amazing.
Yeah. So
I want to have a conversation with her.
So she owns Rock Your Massage Practice. And so she specifically works with massage therapists, helping them prevent all the business mistakes that she made. And So, and how to grow your business, how to get the clients you want, how to narrow in on your niche, how to market. Like, I remember when I was talking about, I went out on Tranquil Intuitions before I met her, and all my clients were like, "You'll be fantastic. You'll be great. You'll do," which I'm a great massage therapist. I knew that.
Yeah.
Running a business is a whole different ballgame, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was not gaining any clients. COVID hit 6 months after, I opened my practice.
Right.
Like, what do? I don't know how. And so I lost half my clients because everyone's afraid to come back after COVID. Then I'm like, my business is not thriving. I need to do something. I don't know how to run a business. That was and then her ad came by. It was the best decision because always she says, businesses don't have problems. People have problems that bleed into their business. And I mean, that's a whole mindset. It's the changed it. It's the, get out there and do it. Here's marketing strategies. If you're afraid, do it anyway. You have to show up, be seen. You got to take action. Yes, manifest, envision what you want. But then
you have to take step
the
forward.
action.
You step forward, yeah.
And trust the universe. That the universe it conspires with us to make our dreams come true. You just have to take that step. And so many times I think people manifest things they want, but they forget the action part.
Yeah.
They forget that when the universe says, I'm presenting this to you, take this step.
Yeah.
And they only present it for so long before they're like, all right, well.
I guess she doesn't want it.
Right?
I had this really great idea for you. Oh, wait. Oh, you're not interested. Okay.
Right.
You've been asking for this for a really long time. Wait, yes, no, yeah, oh, yeah, no, okay.
And I think our guides get so frustrated. I mean, I know our guides love us and they put all this attention onto us, but sometimes I'm sure they're just like, dude, right there. You missed the opportunity right there. Right there. Like, I'm sure they get so frustrated and probably like, I quit.
I have the same conversations. I'm like, I sometimes wonder if aliens are just looking down on us and they look at like the trash on the planet and they're like, what are those people doing? What decisions are they making? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. It's the whole hello. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes what's right in front of us, and I think sometimes we believe that things have to take so much effort.
Yes.
And
well, that's the story that we're sold.
Right. Is that that's
you
the whole thing. You
have to struggle.
You have to work hard.
You got to work hard. That was previous generations and breaking through that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think if you really look at, I'm not saying, and I don't want to discount anyone who came from nothing and built their way up to wealth, but there's a lot of wealthy people out there who didn't work for it. Just there.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Yes.
Or their parents knew how to make money. Like, that's the thing is they don't teach you about money. And I mean, it's an energy and how to use this energy and how to make it work for you.
It's just a magnifier of the problems you already have or the beliefs that you already have, or it's just going to magnify whatever you are now and people's beliefs around that and how they were raised.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the biggest lies that they sold us was money don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
First off, they're made from trees. So that I remember hearing that and I'm like, but money's paper and paper's made from trees. Like,
you're so smart.
That was my thing. Yeah. Second, look how much money is out there. We have billionaires. There is money, like multi-billion companies. Like, there's so much money out there. It's not scarce. It's not this, this resource that is like
limited.
Oh no. Like, it's not limited. Exactly.
We just keep printing more of it.
And that's the whole thing. You come down and like the energy, and that's the thing is your belief around it is that, oh, I can't get to it, or I'll never, I hate hearing people like, oh, I'll never have that. I'll never have my dream. I'll never have my dream cabin. I'll never, like, those are the things that, if it's a large price tag on it, never. And it's like, no, don't limit yourself. You don't know what the universe has in store for you.
Or what you're even capable of.
How powerful you are. We are powerful human beings, powerful beyond our own imagination, the things that we can do. We watch people make changes. One person who all of a sudden the whole world knows about them because they're taking a stance on, women in education in Middle Eastern countries. it's, those are the things that like one person can change the world, and you can be that person. Why not you? Mm-hmm. Why not you?
Mm-hmm. And your higher self already knows. It's your ego that really truly
absolutely.
is like, wait a minute, I know how to navigate this world. Let me tell you all the things you're afraid of.
Right? Well, I think our brain is wired to survive.
Yes.
It's that the whole thing is to survive. So anything, and that's the thing. I think the rule is you got 5 seconds. When you have something that happens, you have 5 seconds before your brain starts trying to talk you out of it. So if you don't take action, those 5 seconds, most likely you're going to allow your brain to talk you out of it.
That's good advice, Amy Gunn.
So I think that's Mel Robbins. It's the 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Like when something comes up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Any action you do, so that way you can't let your brain talk you out of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good advice.
So
thanks for sharing that
you're
nugget. Welcome. What old ideas of yourself are you outgrowing?
That I have to be thin to be beautiful. That I have to be thin to do the things I love, to learn the things I love. That I am powerful. I think that for a long time it was I was a nobody. And I am incredibly important to this universe. How that the fact that I existed, I won against millions of sperm, in reality is, and the fact that I made it here.
You're so cool.
But the fact that, and not only did, I was a sperm and an egg that made it to a baby, but I made it safely out and I have survived.
That is a miracle.
Right?
People do not, okay, I can't generalize, but a lot of people don't realize what a freaking miracle that is.
That I was like an egg that was fertilized by sperm and then grew to this person. And not only that I have that I've survived and now I'm thriving. That I am thriving in a world where, it's a beautiful world. And I think that there's so many people have this negative view of our world. But I believe that there is so much good going on that outweighs all the negative. I think and I know some people don't believe it, but I think that I definitely do. I think that generally that there's a lot more good. They just don't report on it. Apparently it doesn't make the good news, or, that's a whole nother story about about who feeds us our news.
Yes.
And why they do that.
And information.
Right. And very strategic why they do it. But I think that, there's so much more good. And I think that, people have so much potential. I think fear. You gotta, you're afraid, do it anyway. And so I think that coming over this, that I don't have to be afraid. I don't have, and being seen,
I wish I would have known that at your age. You're so rad.
I wish I would have known that younger.
I know.
Right?
Like when you're 15, could you imagine what your life would be like?
And that's the thing. And that's why I want to inspire. Like I tell my niece and nephew, and I'm like, I love you. Go make some magic. From a young age, I've told my niece, I'm like, you can do anything. Don't let anyone ever tell you can't do anything. And I believe that she is going to change the world. She is fierce. She didn't make a lot of friends when she was little because she would be off doing her own little thing. And, as you're growing up, people, especially school-age children, like groups. And if you break out on your own, you're on the outside. She struggled so much with that. And I'm like, but you're meant to change the world. I was like, don't let anyone tell you can't do anything.
Don't conform.
Right? I tell my nephew that. Don't let anyone say you can't have anything. I said, the only one that's saying, the only one stopping you is you.
You.
Stop putting limits on yourself because of what others say. Because you can. People have been in worse, dire situations than you are. Broke, poor, like $5 to their name, and somehow they're multi-million-dollar people. Like, you can transform anything you desire. And I want everyone to know that you're so more magical. You just have to take that step. You have to be courageous enough to be willing to go after what you want tenaciously.
Yes. I love that word. What is this making space for?
This,
Well, I meant the old ideas
yeah.
of yourself that you're outgrowing.
Thank you for. I think that it is making space for just. I have some amazing things in store for me, and I don't know what they're all yet. The universe doesn't let me to know all of them, but it is really making space for a lot more deeper spiritual growth and deeper connections. I really feel that's my path, is connecting deeply and inspiring others to be able to connect deeply with their life and live their best life. I think I want to create a space, and eventually that it spreads out to the world, that to live your most authentic life as you are, show up as you are, because you were designed when you came here specifically to be who you are. And when you don't shine, I think that the world loses something from that. It's a disadvantage to the rest of the world when you don't shine who you're supposed to be.
What do you hope to embody more in this next year?
I want to embody saying yes to more things. And I'm working on that. Saying yes to invites, to make connections, saying yes to being seen, to showing up, just being present and showing up, especially in the community. I just found out that there's this amazing, stained glass body art, body positive art thing going on, like that there's these stained glasses pieces being made for body positive. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know that existed in our community. So I want to show up and be more present in the community and support queer events, support body positive events, and let them know that, I'm a part of that community, so I need to show up in that community, but also just give support and awareness that these exist.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel we can incorporate more love for ourselves and for the world around us?
I think that the best way to be able to incorporate love for yourself is to sit with yourself and ask what you need. I think that's what do I need? How is the best way I can love me? And just sit with that and let whatever comes up. I think that's that we don't listen to ourselves enough. But because our bodies will tell us, our unconscious will tell us what's the best way. And I think that however that comes up, finding ways that you can incorporate that in your daily life. With work, with your work, with your friends, asking when your body tells you what you need, if that's something you can't give yourself, seeing who can you trust and asking for it.
This is a practice that I teach all of my clients to do first thing in the morning. Yeah, 2 questions. How am I feeling? With no filter.
Okay.
First thing when you wake up. Like, fuck, I'm tired.
Right.
All right. It's a conversation with you and yourself. So, how am I feeling? What do I need? And then give that to yourself that day.
That's fantastic.
Find a way to give it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's building a conversation with your inner child.
Yeah.
You're just having a conversation with your inner child.
I think when we love ourselves, that will transcend to everybody around us.
If everyone would do that, just imagine the world we would live in.
How much patience people have for others.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes I find when people are impatient with others is because they're impatient with something that's going on with themselves.
For sure.
It's a reflection. How we are, the anger that we'll feel is a reflection of something going on inner. And if we could stop and really reevaluate, well, okay, this emotion's coming up. Why? What do I need? Why am I angry? Why? Or joy sometimes, joy. What made me joyful? Because sometimes that happens where you're just like, I feel joy it feels like it comes out of nowhere, but there's something that happened that was triggered where you're like, oh, I got to witness somebody like helping a little lady, pick up her groceries that fell, what joy it brings to see somebody else helping.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate everything that you were willing to share, and it was such a good time.
Thank you for this conversation. It really fed my soul.
Good.
And I think I learned some more stuff about me too.
Good.
Isn't that great?
Yes. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You give to me, I give to you. It's reciprocal. Thank you so much, Amy.
You're welcome. It was a fantastic time.